Today we will discuss regarding pleasure. Pleasure is a feeling of enjoyment. It remains so long the stimuli are present. You derive pleasure so long the masseur is doing the massage. Absence of massage stops the enjoyment of massage. Similarly, when you are touching your girlfriend, you are enjoying. And once the girlfriend leaves, your pleasure also stops. The source of pleasure is stimuli, and the instruments are our five cognitive senses, that is, see, smell, touch, taste, and hear. When stimuli which give pleasure falls on sense receptors of input organs, it is converted to electrical and chemical signals by process of transduction. These neuron signals through sensory nerves travel to brain. The path traveled is stimuli, sensation, perception by natural controller, feeling. This is how we get the feeling of enjoyment or pleasure. Please note, the inbuilt knowledge stored in genes is governed by the natural controller. When the first pleasure is derived, it is stored in the memory in form of microtubes of brain cells. The pull of pleasure is when you come across a particular stimulus, and from memory of pleasure slot, thought is generated, and this leads to the feeling about pleasure. You saw a beautiful girl. Now, beautiful girl acts as a stimulus. This gives rise to sensation. Sensation reaches perception, and through memory, the thought is generated. Once the thought is generated, now you imagine about the pleasure being derived through the beautiful girl. This leads to the generation of feeling. Now your head turns in the direction of the beautiful girl. There is a pull of pleasure. The same is applicable to other stimuli. The path traveled is stimuli, sensation, perception, thought, imagination, feeling. When you hear the music of your favorite song coming from some vehicle on road, you immediately start getting the pleasure. And as the vehicle goes away, you start crooning the song in your mind. You like pizza, and when you see the hoarding displaying pictures of pizza, you get temptation, and it is likely you may eat pizza that day. While moving in the garden, when you get the smell of jasmine, your feet stop and you would like to stay there for a while if you have time. Now, common sources of pleasure in our day-to-day life are: number one is sex, that is through wife, girlfriend, visiting prostitutes or watching porn movies. Then B is food, home cooked food, or eating at nice, isolated, clean restaurants serving your desired cuisine. Third is music, listening or playing instruments to your favorite songs or tunes. Then fourth is hobbies, indulging in activities of your interest. It can be reading, writing, painting, photography, knitting, gardening, etc. etc. Then fifth is doing nothing, taking leave from hectic schedule of work, sleeping, sitting idle in solitude, or thinking nothing. Then sixth is sports, playing, watching matches in the stadium or on television, making collage of players. Then seventh is through gossip, that is talking about private life of others or ill of person whom you hate with your friends, etc. Then is the exercise, paying attention to your health, doing physical activities at home or gymnasium, indulging in bodybuilding. The ninth is creativity, designing new products, doing research and development in the field of interest, making new innovations, learning new things. Then 10th is healing, that is indulging in massage, spa, and healing programs like Reiki, yoga, energy crystals, pranic, Om, etc. Now we will discuss the role of pleasure in our life. There is no one in the world who does not want pleasure and comforts. People earn in life just to have pleasure and comforts. Only 5% of population of the world is above pleasure and comforts. To reach at that level, one must be super intelligent. Those who are ultra rich and get fed up with pleasure and comforts, or who are full of wisdom, reach at that level. Then they pursue happiness rather than having pleasure and comforts. What is the difference between happiness and pleasure? Pleasure is limited to physical stimuli, whereas happiness is mental attitude of a person. Pleasure is dependent on senses, whereas happiness is dependent on your way of thinking. Pleasure can be had even when you are not happy. You are under tension due to some official or personal problem and you go to barber for haircut. You will get pleasure when barber does head massage, but mentally you are under tension. Similarly, you can be happy without any pleasure. You got an increment in your salary, thus you are happy. In this happy state, you are moving in heavy, unpleasant traffic way back to your home. Although you are uncomfortable or having no pleasure, but you are happy. A person can be unhappy while living in an air-conditioned big house. Whereas a person can be happy in a small hut in village with no pleasure and comforts. Now, how to overcome pleasure in life? Usually, the pleasure attack is so fast that one gets carried away. In order to get out of pleasure attack, one has to switch over to vigilance mode. In vigilance mode, the empty space of mind watches the mind without involving in it. Once the vigilance mode is set in mind, you will see the moment of pleasure under this vigilance mode. What will happen? Now when the vigilance mode comes in action, then for the first time you will see the pleasure. The zero mind looks at the activities of the mind under the I mode. And since this zero mind is not of time, thus it does not participate with the I mode. It only looks without any judgment. This looking then drops the pull of pleasure, as it now understands the activities of ego related with pleasure. Now the mind is able to classify and demark between the pleasure, happiness, and joy. For all this, you don't have to do any effort, as it is all done without any effort, just by looking of the mind in the vigilance mode. Once this is done, then there is clarity, mind operates in harmony with the eternity.